I'd like to go ahead and open, call to order the school board meeting tonight. The first item on the agenda is I need a motion to go into closed session to preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant to the North Carolina general statutes listed on our agenda, to discuss personal matters protected by state law and to discuss student matters made confidential by general statutes and FERPA. A motion.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Fuller. Do I have a second? I have a second by Ms. Owens. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. We are now in closed session. On behalf of the Davie County School Board, I'd like to welcome, I think there's people out here now. I can't see. But there they are.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone to a special called board meeting between the Board of Education and county commissioners. And at this time, I'd like to call our side of the meeting to order and welcome everyone. It's very exciting to be meeting in the auditorium of the brand new Davie County High School. So on behalf of the board, welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Junker, on behalf of the county commissioners, welcome. I'd like to call our meeting to order, and I would echo that it is very nice, great to be in this new facility. Look, it's beautiful. This time, if you would please join me in the invocation. Dear God, as we come before you this evening, we are so thankful for the many blessings we enjoy here in Davie County in the United States. One of the blessings that we enjoy is the freedom. Let us never forget that freedom is never free, and let us never lose sight of that. As we go through the business this evening, we ask for your wisdom and guidance in this meeting. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
This time, I'd like to recognize Boy Scout Pack 732 from Bethlehem United Methodist to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. At this point, I need a motion from my board to adopt the agenda. A motion from Ms. Horn. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Drexler. In discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, this time, we need to adopt the agenda for our side. So someone like to have a motion, have a second. Second. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. 4-0.
At this point, we move to the next item on the agenda is the transfer of property, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Hartness and John Eller. And before you guys get started, I know there's been a lot of work put in place on both sides of this, a lot of hours, a lot of people involved, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Chairman Junker. I would echo those comments. Mr. Eller, you and your staff have been fantastic to work with. There's several of them here tonight. We appreciate them and appreciate all the staff from Davie County Schools that have made this transition as smooth as it has been. So I would like to just spend a few moments giving you an update of the condition of the site and some photographs of what is there now and what property will be transferred. So if you can turn your attention to the screen, we'll walk through just a couple slides to outline that. So this is a graphic that was produced by Walter Robbs Callahan Pierce, our architectural firm, approximately 5 years ago. And this was an aerial of the approximately 33 acres at 1200 Salisbury Road in Moxville. And you can see the red outline is the property boundaries, and that was the existing site plan of the high school. This was also a document that was produced by Walter Robbs Callahan Pierce as we were communicating the future plans for this property, as we were communicating the information related to this new school. And you can see this is a drawing that I took around to a lot of different places and shared with folks. The hashed marked buildings at the top of the screen there above the purple are the buildings that we had scheduled to be demoed from the old high school. And those buildings have now been removed from the site. You'll see a camera and an arrow at the top of the screen there. Just last week, I was out at the site and took a photograph from that spot in the back corner of the bus parking lot, looking back toward the front entrance of the school. And this is what it looks like today. This is the back corner of the bus parking lot. Over to the right is the K building, and in the distance are the two gymnasiums. The main gymnasium is pictured on the right and the auxiliary gym to the left. And then even farther left from that would be the stadium area. So the site has been cleared, has been sown, and the portion that the Board of Education included as part of the demo that was paid for by the proceeds from the school bond has been completed. So that's what the site looks like today. In our discussions, as we've always talked about, the K building, which was the Performing Arts and Media Center building on the current or the former high school campus, is a building that we would like to retain and to transform and remodel at some point in the near future to become offices for the district, professional development training center for our teachers, and a boardroom for the Board of Education. So as we walked through this piece of property and looked at what would be retained by the Board of Education in the future, you'll see the outline of what is proposed to be retained. It's just under 5 acres of property. And I'll show you with this pointer if I can get it to work. This is the former loop. When you first came off 601 to the front of the school, that's where this would be. And then there's a parking area here to the left that would be retained on the Board of Education's property. This is the memorial garden that we will continue to have intact and maintain right beside the K building. And then there's a space around the building for our maintenance staff to be able to service the facilities, service the equipment that feeds this building, and then there's parking on this side that we will retain for staff. Currently there is a K-pod, a pod mobile unit that's still there. We plan to move that to another school in the near future. So that is the outline. The yellow outline is the property the Board of Education proposes to retain that's just under 5 acres. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our county manager, Mr. Eller, and he's going to talk about the future of this site.
Thank you, Dr. Hartness, and Board of Education members. Just thank you for the partnership that our county commissioners and all of you have forged together this past year. I can't echo Dr. Hartness's sentiments earlier. He's been a great partner. It's been a little over a year since I arrived here, and we've done a lot of work, so I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. Recently, our board saw some plans as it relates to the master planning for the park. And we won't rehash that. That's on our website, daviecounty.gov, and you can go to the county website, Davie County. Just citizens can look that up. We've had several presentations. We also, on our recreation and park site, we've got information on that website as well that has all the information about this build-out. So our commissioners have been informed on that. But if any citizen wants to look at that, feel free to go to the Davie County website and do that. All this information is on there, and I want to thank our Director, Paul Moore, for what he's done, and also our staff and our facilities unit and our capital improvement staff as well for the work they've done to get us this far. So what you're going to see today is information that we've shared with our commissioners, but as Dr. Hartness said, you can see the Phase 1 demo being completed, and then the Phase 2 demos are currently getting ready to start. And after that, we wanted to show you what this site will look like. What I'm showing you here is the master plan. It's included in the full build-out of the park. This includes more than just Phase 1 of the park. What we want to show you is what the Phase 1 will look like. I'll also refer back to, on our website, as I mentioned before, there is a 360 VR tour you can actually take of the park that's pretty impressive, so I'd encourage anyone who wants to see that to be able to go out and look at it if you want more information about this. But you'll be able to see all the amenities that are listed up here as our consultant has pulled together for us to be able to see what the full build out of the park is going to look like. So this is a futuristic depiction of that. In addition to that, here's the Phase 1 pieces that I mentioned. So this will be the first phase of the project. So you saw what the full build out will look like. But for Phase 1 of the project, we really tried to focus on the amenities that our citizens said that they wanted. Those were done through focus groups, surveys. We had lots of info sessions as well, and got feedback from our Recreation and Parks Committee. And from that, we had these recommendations. And I'm pleased to say that 6 out of the 10 top ranked items were included in Phase 1 of this park. So you can also see what we're proposing here. And the splash pad will be a state Partif grant, a parks grant that will be able to be at the entry point of this park. So you can see the key over here and see what's included in the Phase 1 elements, and then the areas that aren't highlighted will be those future phases. So to end, before we go into the new business items here and vote on the various agreements and declarations that we have here, there's lots of great things that are happening in this regard that we're very excited about. I mentioned those top amenities. It's going to allow the existing buildings that we were able to save to be able to be part of the amenities of this park. There's a lot of history, we know, in many aspects of this park. The football field will obviously be there and have lots of memories, as well as many other parts of that campus. So we're going to use what we can within the budget that we have to be able to do what we can for those amenities. Quality of life is a big thing we've all heard about. This will be our first official county-owned park. And so that's something we're very proud of, and we put a lot of time and effort into that. And it also focuses on all ages and demographics and abilities. We want this park to be something that anyone can use. And it also really helps us now that this process has gotten us to where we are today, we're able to have our timeline start. So we're really hoping to stay on task and have this done by the summer of 2019. So with that, Dr. Hartness, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Mr. Eller. Again, there's been a lot of people working together to make this possible, and I'm really excited about the vision that you and the county have established for the future of that facility. That will be a huge benefit to our whole community, so we appreciate your work toward that goal. And I also want to say thank you to Mr. Ed Vogler, your attorney for the county, and Mr. Artie Bolick with Brooks Pierce. We see Jill at our meetings, but we also work behind the scenes with Artie on a regular basis. These gentlemen have been invaluable as we work through the process and make this transfer according to what's outlined in general statute. So as far as the Board of Education, the action that you would need to take tonight, attached to your agenda item is a resolution. That resolution declares the property outside of the almost 5 acres we plan to keep as surplus, and it offers that property to the county commissioners in exchange for an easement and for certain rights of the property that's set forth in a declaration of easement and joint use agreement that's also attached to your agenda item. So at this point, I think we should probably open it up for either board, Mr. Eller, to ask any questions about next steps or the property itself.
Dr. Hartness, Ed Vogler may want to expound upon what your attorney and he have spoken about, and also the interpretation we've received from the School of Government on this transfer.
Mr. Chairman and members of the two boards, you have before you county resolution, also the declaration of easement and joint use agreement. As you're aware, the North Carolina State Constitution provides under Article 9, Section 7, that all monies, stocks, bonds, and other properties belonging to a county fund, school fund, shall be faithfully appropriated and used to maintain free public schools. This provision has been interpreted by the North Carolina courts to limit the school's ability to convey property without some consideration for non-school use. Our courts have interpreted consideration for property transfers to include joint use agreements wherein conveyed property is devoted to a public use as a public park and also for public school use as long as certain provisions are included to protect the school system. In this agreement you have before you for consideration this evening, please note that the following protections for the school are in the agreement. 1, the school has a continual, perpetual, mutual, and non-exclusive right and easement to use the property for any valid school purposes at such time as the school system chooses to use same, with the county being solely responsible for all costs of upkeep, maintenance, repairs, and utilities while the school is using the property without any cost to the schools. 2, the property will be used for a public use, i.e. a new public park and recreational facility, including gyms and stadiums for public school use. 3, the grant of the easement is non-assignable and is non-transferable by the county. And 4, the property is, if it's ever sold or transferred by the county, all proceeds derived from that set sale would revert back to the school system itself. This agreement has been drafted and scrutinized by the law firm of Brooks Pierce. It's a 97-member law firm with lawyers who specialize in both education law and real estate, with multiple attorneys reviewing this document. Myself also reviewing as county attorney, and also we had professors from the North Carolina School of Government review the contract to make sure it was compliance with North Carolina law.
Thank you, Mr. Vogler.
Board's board questions?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chairman, but I would like to make a comment. I appreciate, as you guys have already noted, all of the hard work that has went into making this transfer a reality, all of the time that Mr. Vogler and Mr. Bullock have put into making sure that we're doing this the proper way, and I appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing the result of this park and seeing a completion and seeing the community enjoy it.
2013 was the last time I think we got together, and we were at the Senior Services Building. And the projection was the new high school and this park. And I recall making the statement that Davie County was going to be the place to be, the place to educate your children, and a place to go with your families to enjoy. It is an honor to sit here tonight in this facility and see the plans, Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3, coming to reality. And I really want to thank every citizen in this county who put their time, their effort, their energy, their dreams into this project. It is coming to be a reality. 2018, from 2013 to now, this is magnificent, and I thank everyone.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. At this time, I would entertain a motion. Let me read the motion. Motion to adopt the resolution declaring the property outlined in the property description as surplus, to offer the property to the commissioners in exchange for an easement and certain continuing rights in the property as set forth in the declaration of easement and joint use agreement, and to authorize staff to engage in the necessary steps to complete the property and conveyance. Need a motion for that.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Fuller. Have a second.
Sorry.
Have a second by Ms. Owens. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Y'all have any action? No action? You guys have.
Okay, thank you. Do we questions about the joint use agreement, any language or legalities or what we're getting ready to vote on? Any comments? I would just say, kind of following up on Ms. Owens, this is a step in a journey. It's been a journey, but just as another step, a very positive step. So glad to be here. Okay, well, if there's no other comments or questions, entertain a motion to accept, adopt, pass this resolution, adopt the easement, the joint use agreement with the Davie County Board of Education, accept the transfer of the surplus property to the county, and instruct and authorize the county staff to execute all documents necessary. So, Mike.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Ferguson, second by Mr. Poindexter. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, that passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Big day. Next item on the agenda is I will call for a recess of the Board of Education for 15 minutes. I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Fuller. Need a second. I have a motion and a second by Ms. Horn. All those in favor? Be in recess for 15 minutes.
We appreciate the hospitality, but we're going to excuse ourselves. So I'll let y'all get on with your agenda. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? 4-0. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
At this time, I'll reconvene the Board of Education portion of our meeting. And the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from January 9th meeting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Potts. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Drexler. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. The next item on the agenda is the important dates, and today's the 6th. February 20th, have the Davie Chamber Awards Gala at Winmock. February 22nd, Board of Education lunch at William R. Davie Elementary School. Those are always great. And February 26th, Board of Education and Parent Advisory Council meeting at William Ellis Middle School. Again, another great time that we get to hear what's going on in the schools. So, and then our next meeting is March the 6th. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report, and I'll turn that over to Dr. Hartness.
Thank you, Chairman Junker. Good evening, everyone. It's good to have you out in the auditorium at Davie County High School. This is the first meeting we've conducted in this room. I want to thank all of our staff who set that up and made tonight special. I also want to thank Mr. Potts and Mr. Hales for coming out to the district spelling bee recently. That was a marathon, wasn't it, guys? I told the group of students at the beginning of the spelling bee and the audience to just hang on because they had 2 hours extra to study that morning because we had a 2-hour delay. And it went long. We went through 73 words. And it was a fantastic spelling bee. Congratulate all those students who were there and participating. They were champions from their schools. And thank you, Mr. Potts, Mr. Hales, for supporting our students at that event. We have talked about, and you've heard in the news quite a bit recently, about the class size issues in North Carolina. I want to update the board and let you know that we've been working with the North Carolina Association of School Administrators, and a number of superintendents around the state have proposed several potential solutions to the legislature to address this issue. All school districts have provided data to the legislature that shows how class size mandates affect individual school systems, and I really believe the leadership in the legislature now understands the issue that was created in the last budget. I am really hopeful that we will see resolution in a new bill that will come out in the next week or two. I don't think that we need to be planning to go out and adjust spaces in schools. I don't think that we need to be hiring additional teachers or rearranging our art, music, and PE schedules for next year. I'm really hopeful that the legislature will come through and do the right thing and address the issues that we have put before them and that were created in the last budget. So I'm very hopeful and positive about that right now. I'll give you some more updates via email in the next week or so when we get some more information. Board, I had the honor of attending an awards ceremony this past Saturday with New Atlantic Contracting. New Atlantic was the general contractor who constructed this building over the last couple years, and New Atlantic Contracting received the Pinnacle Award from Carolina's AGC. Carolina's AGC is the North and South Carolina affiliate of the Associated General Contractors of America. And the Pinnacle Award was for this new Davie County High School. This project was named the best building project in North and South Carolina, over $5 million, and a project that truly enhanced a local community. So we want to congratulate Ricky Atkins and the entire team at New Atlantic for receiving that Pinnacle Award, the best contracting company that I have worked with in my career, quite honestly. The last thing I want to do is congratulate two of our employees who are retiring at the end of this month. A number of you had a chance to join them in the Media Center this afternoon before this meeting. We want to congratulate Todd Naylor, our Director of Transportation, and Donna McNeil, the Director of Career and Technical Education. Both of these folks have committed years of dedicated service to Davie County Schools. Both are friends personally and professionally. They're just wonderful people. We congratulate them on the retirement that they have earned. We will get to recognize them at our retirement dinner, but I hope that you will join me in congratulating them and thanking them for their service to our school system. With that, Mr. Junker, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much. And I'd also like to say congratulations to Donna McNeil and Todd Naylor. Both of them, like so many, whenever someone retires, it's just to see the passion that they have to make sure that things are right when they leave and that it keeps carrying on. And you could see that in both of them, which is a tremendous compliment to them. So thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? I have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Second?
Second.
Second by Colonel Hills. Any questions? Discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is our business items. Let's see. Human Resources, Davie County High School and Davie County Early College High School graduation dates. And that's Mr. Wallace.
Thank you, Chairman Junker. Board, I'm bringing these two dates to you with a lot of optimism and confidence.
I can feel it.
I hope so.
I can feel it.
I'm really hopeful. We would like to propose that, recommend that you approve the dates here for the Davie County High School graduation for Saturday, June 9th at 8:30 in War Eagle Stadium, and the Early College High School for Saturday, May the 19th at 11 o'clock at Calvary Baptist Church West Campus.
And that does need to be voted on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion by Ms. Owens. I have a second. I have a second by Mr. Fuller. Any discussion, questions?
I have a question. I guess my first question is, so we're going to waive a school day for the children. Have we done that in time past? And the second part of that question would be, are we is it realizing where we are right now with the school year and what number of days it leaves us to play with, if I could use that term? I just wonder if that's a wise move. I wonder if past history, and I don't know that history, but I wonder if we've traditionally done that. And I guess I understand if we have, but the old red flag goes up, and I'm thinking, okay, we don't want to back ourselves in a corner that there's no way to get out. So that's my concern.
Colonel, we worked together a long time. You doubting my optimism?
I am too, but
I'm joking.
But I
with
won't
you.
born
Yes,
last
sir.
night.
To your question, have we ever waived days in the past? Yes, we have. As a matter of fact, we had to waive a couple last year. And one of the things that I'm going to one of the topics that I will bring forward, one of our next topics will address some of that, the hours that we are in school and where we feel very comfortable, and kind of jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah, I looked at all that.
Okay,
Yeah, before I made
sure,
it.
we're not sure, as you well know, each year, but
Yeah.
we do have days to play with, to your point. We've got spring break, which we try not to do. We've
Right.
still got some a few other work days that we could work with. We've got a few early release days we could work with. So we feel comfortable bringing this to you based upon knowing we have a few more days to work with that's in the calendar, but at the same time, with, again, referencing the document here in a moment, we're in session, we will surpass the 1,025 hours.
Right.
So we still feel comfortable. We could even forgive, and I'm not suggesting this, obviously, again, from the material you read,
Right.
up to over 6 days.
Right,
We
I
could
saw
still
that.
work, and still be within the
Yeah.
statutes, yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
But would you repeat the motion, please? I'm confused. We're voting on the calendar?
No.
Okay.
This is
but
just the
all the questions
graduation
seem to
dates.
be toward
Yeah,
that.
approve the graduation
Okay.
dates for
All right.
Davie County High School and early college.
So we're just approving the graduation.
That's correct.
dates. Want to
Next
make sure.
item.
Okay.
Next item. Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Now, the next item on the agenda is the update to the school calendar. Mr. Wallace.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Board, as you can see there in your document, has already been referenced, there is the law. And we also lay out the number of minutes that we are in class during the instructional minutes. And as referenced here again, we would use the elementary schools because they're in the instruction time at least 360 days. And then you can see the math that's been laid out there before you. Also, you can see the number of days we've missed since the 2002-03 school year, the 2002 and 2003 school year. And I'll be glad to entertain any questions there, but what we are recommending is to the board that you waive January the 19th. And that is both for the early college calendar and the traditional calendar as well.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to waive January 19th as a student day. I have a motion by Mr. Drexler. Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Horn. Any other discussion?
That waiver of one day also coincides with a makeup day, right? There is also a makeup day.
Yes, sir.
on the second day.
Yes, sir, March the 2nd.
For staff.
For staff, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, March the 2nd is it is let me make sure I'm telling you right here. Student day, yes, that is a makeup day. Yes, sir, Mr. Drexler. That's correct.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a public address to the board.
I cannot tell board members how packed our audience is because I cannot see over all of you, although you look very fine from here. But we do have one member of the public who is here to address us potentially, and that is Miss Alice Brown. Alice, if you would come to the microphone and let us know what you have to say. We're thrilled to have you here.
I'm not sure if it's a fright or a senior moment, but I just had a name that just escaped me, Mr. Wallace. I wanted to thank you and Dr. Hartness for coming to the NAACP to address some parental concerns. But the real reason that I came tonight was to thank the school board. I talked to Dr. Hartness one evening about the possibility of changing Camel Road to Martin Luther King Road. And when he brought it before the board, you voted to change that road name, and I'm just bringing a thanks note of appreciation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Board members, that concludes all of our speakers tonight.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown, for taking the time to come and speak to us. Next item on the agenda is, next item on the agenda is the Davie County Early College Calendar. Is that right? Mr. Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, you'll see we've presented in your packet there, the calendar for the early college. There we go. Mine went.
I'm with you.
See, these calendars.
For 18-19.
Yes, sir.
That's
We're
what-
presenting that to you
threw
for
me, too.
information.
I'm running on the
Yes.
same thing.
And I will note, if you'll see there in where we are, there's a slight change to what's actually on the calendar, which I will reference here. If you recall, in the traditional calendar, we had asked that you allow or consider for waiving 2 days next year for inclement weather. And on the calendar that's in your packet, under makeup days, it says early releases, March 29th, Saturdays when possible. Well, that will be changed to reflect the same language and the same waiver options that's in the traditional calendar. That will be adjusted, which is stated there in the part of the recommendation.
And that is, yeah, that's for information.
Information, that's correct.
Questions? All right. Next item on the agenda is state bonuses, and Ms. Jenda Haynes.
Thank you, Chairman Junker, board members, and guests. I was the one nominated to present bonuses, but I have to say up front that this has really been a group effort in working on bonuses. Deborah, Jeff, Donna, who's in the audience. So as we go through, if you have questions, they may also chime in and help answer those. Let's see if I press the right button. Maybe we're not having a presentation tonight. Oh, here we go. Maybe Eddie's helping me from the back. First of all, in North Carolina, we've been hearing a big push for performance pay or pay for performance. So in North Carolina, at this point, pay for performance or teacher bonuses really represent or reflect rewarding teachers for standardized test scores, for their students' standardized test scores. So, oops, that's not the right way. Let me try this again. So last year, state bonuses were awarded to teachers based upon student performance on tests the previous year in 3 areas: 3rd grade, CTE, and AP. So these are last year's bonuses based on the previous year. And what we saw with those state bonuses is that they really appeared to reflect the priorities of the state legislature and their funding items. So there had been obviously a push for Read to Achieve, funding to support AP testing and the cost for that for all students. So the bonuses reflected those priorities. So this year there were some changes to those bonuses that we didn't really anticipate. This year the bonuses were expanded to include 4th grade reading and math, 5th grade reading and math, and then 6th through 8th grade math only. Some other changes. In the previous year, teachers had to still be teaching in that same grade level. For example, if they were receiving a 3rd grade bonus, they still needed to be teaching in 3rd grade to get the bonus the following year. This year, that changed, so teachers were no longer penalized for changing grade levels as long as they were still teaching within the same LEA, the same school district. There were also changes to the caps. Last year, there was a cap for CTE and AP bonuses that was $2,000. This year, that cap was raised to $3,500. So, to give you a little overview of this year's bonuses, our state-funded bonuses totaled $173,000 and some change. And these were awarded to Davie County teachers within their January paychecks. So of our teachers, 52 teachers earned and were eligible for those bonuses based on last year's test data. And this was mostly based on growth. We'll go into some of those details in a moment. Notice that bonuses range from $250 to $8,600. Quite a range. So we'll look at these based on each grade span. First of all, for elementary, I want to point out that it's based on growth, not proficiency, and you've heard lots of presentations from Erin Full before about defining what growth is, and she's on call if we need another definition of growth versus proficiency, but they're looking at growth of students. So the idea is to reward teachers who are growing students the most. So this table shows how the bonuses are broken down. So if I'm a third grade teacher, I'm eligible for a bonus in reading if my growth data puts me in the top 25% of the state and/or in the top 25% of the LEA. So I can receive one bonus or the other, or the total of $7,411.63. Okay? But again, only reading for third grade, not eligible in math. And the reading growth would be based on the BOG to EOG. In fourth grade and fifth grade, you will see it broken down in both reading and math. So I could be in the top 25% of the state and/or the top 25% of the LEA in each subject area. So I could get one bonus, two bonuses, three bonuses, four bonuses, as far as how these will add up. So there's a variety of what those bonuses might be. But you see that the total, if I am in fourth or fifth grade, could potentially be that top bonus level. So within these parameters, we have 20 elementary school teachers who receive bonuses based on last year's student growth. 5 in third grade, 6 in fourth grade, and 9 in fifth grade. And these totaled over $103,000 with an average of just over $5,000 per bonus. Okay, going on to middle school bonuses. Again, these are only in math. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math teachers, again, based on growth. If my growth rate is in the top 25% of the state and/or the top 25% of the district, I can receive one or both, either or. In this case, we had 13 math teachers across our 3 middle schools who received these bonuses, 3 in 6th grade, 7 in 7th grade, and 3 in 8th grade based on last year's student growth data. And their bonuses totaled $43,000 with an average being just over $3,000 per bonus. And then finally, high school bonuses were in CTE and AP, and they totaled $26,650 with an average of $1,403 per bonus. So I want to break these down a little bit more and give you a little more information based on the categories. For CTE, keep in mind we have students earning credentials in many different areas. I don't have a total number for that, but they're broken down by tiers. So Donna McNeil went through and looked at the tiers and looked at what tiers the courses or the credentials fell in. So in Tier 1, for example, there's 0 bonus. And these are for credentials or certifications such as OSHA, construction industry, CPR, first aid, and some of our agriculture credentials. Those in Tier 2 receive $25 per student who earned a credential, and those are things like CNA, ServSafe, Microsoft, Adobe, and construction management. And then $50 per student who earned a credential for a Tier 3 course or credential, things like Autodesk, National Restaurant Association, as examples. So we had 9 CTE teachers who earned bonuses, and again, they were $25 or $50 bonuses per student who earned a credential. And then on the AP side of things, we have 10 teachers who teach AP courses. We offer 11 face-to-face AP classes in addition to several that are online. These teachers earn $50 per student who earned a 3 or higher on the AP exam. And I want to close with some final thoughts from teachers who receive these bonuses, several emails that I've received, and just some ideas and comments from them. First of all, you'll see in some of these comments, and I won't read all of them to you, but you'll see that teachers were surprised. Just as we did not really expect this kind of expansion in bonuses, they were unaware that they were coming. We also see that folks felt really blessed. They are appreciative of being in Davie County, working with the folks that they work with in Davie County schools. I do want to read this one. I was shocked and humbled by the award. The credit goes to the students who sustained their focus and learned with me throughout the year. I'm grateful and blessed to be on the receiving end of the award. However, there are K-2 teachers who worked just as hard and sent me well-prepared students. There are also other third-grade teachers who sacrificed just as much or maybe more as I have, and it leaves me conflicted. We hear from lots of teachers giving credit back to students, being proud of them and their hard work and their motivation and efforts. We hear teachers who say, I had a really good class last year, really connected with them, and show the importance of the relationships and feel like that made an impact in their students growing so much, as well as the impact of having that growth mindset. And I want to close with this one. I'm very proud, excited, and thankful. I would love to take all the credit for the growth, but it was definitely a joint effort from my third grade team. Our awesome support team and a supporting principal and assistant principal. Everyone worked so hard to meet the needs of our students, and I couldn't have done it without that support. So overall, we want to congratulate all the teachers who earned a bonus this year, but at the same time, we want to thank all the teachers for what they do every day, for their hard work and their dedication, whether they were eligible for a bonus or not. So it certainly takes a village, and we know that. Questions? Comments? Yes?
Can you turn back several slides until you get to the part where it was showing the bonuses for CTE high school age students?
Yes.
Right there. It says 9 CTE teachers and 10 AP teachers received bonuses of $25 or $50, et cetera, but it was based on the number of students who achieved a certain thing. How many total students did that equal?
I don't have a number of students, and some of those students would even be double counted because that a student could be taking multiple AP classes and AP tests. So we'd have to go back and really dig into student scores to look at that, but we certainly can.
The reason for my comment is some of the teacher comments that were up there on the last screen. There's a lot of teachers that do a lot of good things for a lot of students. And you hear recognition of a teacher, like a third grade English teacher. Well, he or she does not just teach reading. But somebody that teaches one of the CTE courses could receive bonuses for 10 students in the classroom that achieve that level instead of one student, or that group moves up, shows growth. So there's a lot more attaboys deserved than what that right there shows. And that's good information, but some people need a pat on the back, and I hope they did and will.
Well, and again, you will see
More than just
some
a check.
priorities as far as what CTE courses are in Tier 1 for $0, Tier 2 for $25, or Tier 3 for $50. Even that creates a little competition there, perhaps, as far as who teaches what class. Or what's valued more than another. But you see that the average bonus there is about $1,400, so significantly less, but it's per student, correct?
I'm assuming that who laid the platform for this? I know the underlying structure is a General Assembly. Did they come up with these specific details as well?
Do you know that?
We had no input.
Okay.
Yep.
Just curious.
To me,
Junker.
it's just kind of bittersweet. You got the good, and thanks to those teachers, and I'm so proud of that. But the bitter is the open things that were not, the ones that actually contributed, but yet were not rewarded, as well as, to me, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I'm looking at those numbers, and I'm thinking, but that's not quite right. So I don't think the state got it quite right.
I'll agree. I also, understanding it's pre-K through 12, and each level adds a new step to this child's education. And it's great to see that our teachers recognize that and understand that it takes all of us working together, from the bus driver, cafeteria worker, all the way up to the principal, everyone in between. It's not a one-person, it's just not a one-person profession. It's all of us.
Just out of curiosity, were the bonuses spread throughout the county?
They were throughout all schools had teachers who received bonuses, yes.
Do you have a comment?
I do have a couple comments. Mr. Hales, I think we're thinking along the same path. It just doesn't seem quite fair. And I am extremely proud, just elated that our teachers would receive bonuses in the month of January. But I think you saw by the comments that Ms. Haynes put up there, many of those teachers did not want to be recognized even before their staff, because they had that internal conflict in knowing that, yes, I worked hard and I was rewarded, but I'm part of a team. And there are people who are working around me, whether it's the grade levels before me or the reading specialist or the ESL teacher or the AIG teacher or others who would never qualify under this state structure, who are just deserving as I. And I hope that in the future the legislature will revisit this issue. Those of you who are sitting at these desks who were public school administrators in the 90s, you'll recall the ABCs of public education. When we first had growth and proficiency scores, and when a school met or exceeded growth, there was a bonus structure that rewarded all teachers in that school. And in fact, there's some that would say the level of testing that we do is really only accurate enough to determine the growth of a school and not an individual child. But as a former principal in the 90s, I can recall my school exceeded growth. Every teacher received a $1,500 bonus. Teacher assistants received a $750 bonus. And as a principal, we used our general fund to give a bonus to every person that worked in the cafeteria and to our custodians, because we recognize that growing students takes everybody in the building. I hope that someday we will get back to a reward system that's more similar to the way that it used to be. I'll call those the good old days. We always reminisce, but I really feel like that would be a much fairer way to distribute that, or to take these bonuses and put them back into the teacher salary schedule. So just a couple commentary on my thoughts. I'm excited for our teachers, and I think when you see that level, there were two ways they can be rewarded. We had a number of teachers who ranked really high in the state. They were not only in that top 25%, but they were really high in the state, and I'm really proud of their efforts with our students.
I'll just make a comment as well, that the humility in the comments is powerful. It's a great trait. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. And before we do that, just again, thank you for everybody that helped put this on, for the commissioners being here, being a part of that relationship. We don't need to take for granted. If you talk to many people not very far away, that is rare. To have such a good working relationship, everybody pulling together. So with that said, anyone else has a comment? We'll go ahead.
I just want to say thanks to Donna and Todd for all their hard work. I hate to see them go, but I understand how much fun it is in retirement. So good luck.
Speak from experience.
We do have a conference championship game going on in their gymnasium. If our boys can win tonight, we will be tied for first place in basketball, which has been a long, long time since I've observed that. So let's get out of here and get over there.
Is that a motion to adjourn?
That's a motion to adjourn, sir.
Do we have a second? A second from Mr. Drexler. All those in favor? Thank you very much. We are adjourned.